Stop assuming the outcome in your active negotiations. Agents make this mistake all the time, and it costs them sales. I'm going to give you some mindset hacks next that will help you focus on the outcome and the results so you can get your folks what they want. If you get some value out of this or you like what you hear, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. And if you want to schedule a call with our team, you can do that with the link in the comments. Real estate agents, stop assuming the outcome in your negotiations or potential offers or potential sales because it's costing you and your clients the deal. It happens all the time. It's one of the biggest mistakes I see people make. I field these calls from inside our team. Hey, well, they have this term, and I don't think the seller is going to like that. Or the buyer can't make an offer above X amount. Well, you've already assumed what's going to happen. Remember, the decision makers in these transactions are the buyers and the sellers. And I have been surprised hundreds of times by the decisions people are making, despite me thinking it's going to go one way or another. And what that really means, it doesn't matter what I think. That's not what this is about. This is about guiding people to make a great decision and giving them all the information through data and education. Talking to your clients with data is a critical skill. So think about your last offer you wrote, your last inspection you had to negotiate. And did you think it was going to go horribly wrong and ended up going okay and moving ahead? That's usually how this goes. So I want to encourage you to use the real data and present options. So instead of assuming the outcome, you want to ask yourself 3 questions. What's the best thing that could happen if we write this offer or ask for this inspection repair? What's the worst thing that can happen? And what's the likely outcome? And that's going to get your mind to calm down because your mind is telling you things that probably aren't realistic. It might be playing tricks on you. You're just assuming the worst. And when you do that, and you really, start to forecast the outcomes, when you do that and you're really forecasting the outcomes, you're injecting fear into the buyer or the seller's process. And that fear can create paralysis. So if you're assuming there's going to be a back out, a termination, or you're just going to get a no, that injection of fear creates doubt. And that doubt will hurt your recommendation instead of saying, here's our 3 options, which one's going to be easier for you? Because remember, these people bought a home or wanted to put their home on the market for a reason. It probably wasn't about the deal dying. It's probably something going on in their lives. So ask those 3 questions. What's the best outcome? What's the worst outcome? What's the likely outcome? And remember, when you start to assume things, you're injecting fear into the process, which causes you to paralyze yourself instead of have that tough conversation with your client. And when you can start to replace assumptions with curiosity, instead of assuming someone can't afford it, there isn't ready, or they won't list right now, instead you want to ask questions like, what would need to happen for you to feel confident to move ahead? What's holding you back from getting started right now? And that can be at the appointment, that can be during the negotiation, or even how would you feel if we lose the home over X? Or how would you feel if we lose the home over asking for this inspection reply if you know it might be a challenging one? And just have that tough conversation with them. These questions, instead of you telling them, hey, you're wrong, this is a bad idea, because nobody likes that. Instead, you're getting into discovery mode. You're getting curious. And great things happen when you're curious. And by leading with questions instead of drawing conclusions, you're going to be a facilitator of clarity, not a persuader of outcomes. So if you script it out, hey, based on the fact that you told me you want to move into this home to get into the right school district for your kids, here's your options. And go through, hey, we could move ahead, we could kill the deal, or we can try to negotiate with them. Which one's going to be easier for you? And you're going through all the options because then you're not boxing people into a corner. And instead of telling them or talking at somebody, you've now become the partner. You've now become their guide. So when you lead with questions, instead of drawing conclusions, that's going to help you avoid these assumptions. And remember, the assumptions will kill listings, kill sales, and kill referrals. When you assume a seller won't adjust the price and don't ask them, you're dead in the water. When you assume a buyer isn't serious, they go buy with somebody else. And you end up stop serving both of those people. You just avoid it. And the avoidance ends up turning into a killed customer or a killed client relationship. And the hesitation leads to missed sales, expired listings, and people that are frustrated. Think about the closed client you have that you never call again. The data is there. Over 80% of customers would refer their agent again, but less than 20% do because people don't keep in touch with them. And the reason agents don't keep in touch with them is because they assume they're not going to refer them any business. I can give you example after example of calling someone on their birthday And days later, we're doing a transaction. And I had nothing other than the agenda of keeping some emotional value in the relationship. So the idea here with this is you want to be ready for everything and assume nothing going into these conversations and these calls. And when you understand your role is to clarify and educate and empower people to make decisions, that's going to help you get over the forecasting of the outcome. So give your clients the full picture, market data, strategy, timing. These are all things people want from their agent. The number one thing a buyer wants is help finding the home. And then you can ask questions once you present the data, the strategy, the timing, whatever they're asking you for a recommendation on. Hey, what makes the most sense for you based on what we just covered? And that kind of thought process, that's going to save sales. It's going to generate more listings, more sales, instead of this fear of everything's going to go sideways right away. So stop making decisions for your clients and start helping them make winning decisions for themselves.